Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. Today, we're diving into a coin that might be hiding in your pocket change at the 1776 to 1976 D Washington quarter dollar. Now, you may have seen these quarters in circulation, and you may have thought, oh, that's just a bicentennial coin. But trust me, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. Some of those quarters could be worth a lot more than you think. Hey, we're talking millions of dollars. Voiceover as the coin is shown. 1976 marked the 200th anniversary of American independence, and the U.S. Mint produced special bicentennial coins to celebrate this monumental occasion. But there's one particular variety of the 1776 to 1976 D Washington quarter that has collectors buzzing with excitement. And if you happen to have one, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Let's break down the details and uncover how this coin earned its spot in history and why it might be worth millions. In 1975 and 1976, the United States Mint struck commemorative coins to celebrate the bicentennial of the Declaration of Independence. The 1776 to 1976 quarter was part of this series, along with a special $50 and dollar coin. These quarters were designed to reflect the spirit of the American Revolution, featuring a unique reverse design showing a colonial drummer. The reverse features a drummer boy, symbolizing the American fight for independence, and a date of apostrophe 1776 to 1976, marking the 200-year anniversary of the birth of the United States. The obverse still has the iconic portrait of George Washington by John Flanagan, which was retained from the earlier Washington quarters. Rarest coins. Most of these bicentennial quarters, including the 1776 to 1976 D, were produced in massive quantities and have a relatively low value, weigh around 25 cents each. So, what makes this coin potentially worth millions? Well, it all comes down to a very specific and rare variety of this quarter at the 1976 D Anno Mint Mark variety. As you can see, most 1776 to 1976 quarters, like this one, have a mint mark AD, which indicates they were minted in Denver. But, as it turns out, some of those quarters were mistakenly struck without the mint mark at all, and that's where things get exciting. Now here's the twist. During production, a small number of 1776 to 1976 D Washington quarters were struck without the D mint mark. This error occurred when the minting process failed to apply the mint mark on the dies used for some of the Denver struck quarters. As a result, these no mint mark varieties are incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. At first glance, it might look like just another 1976 coin, but when you take a closer look, you'll notice there's no mint mark beneath Washington's neck on the obverse. This error coin is so rare that it has become one of the most valuable Washington quarters ever produced. Rarest coins. So, how much is a 1776 to 1976 D no mint mark Washington quarter worth? Well, the price for one of these error coins can vary depending on its condition and authenticity, but these coins have sold for anywhere between $5,000 and $50,000 in recent years. In fact, a 1976 D no mint mark quarter in excellent condition has been known to fetch over $100,000 at auction. Collectors are always on the lookout for rare varieties like this, and when one of these error coins hits the auction block, bidding wars can drive the price sky high. If the coin is in particularly good condition, or even graded as MS67 or higher, it can command a price closer to that $100,000 mark. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. You're in for a real treat today, because we're diving into one of the most fascinating and potentially valuable coins in U.S. history at the 1967 Washington quarter dollar. Now, you might think that a coin from 1967 is just a regular quarter, right? After all, it's over 50 years old and seems like just another piece of everyday change. But what if I told you that some of these quarters are worth millions of dollars? That's right. Today, we're going to talk about why the 1967 Washington quarter could be hiding some rare, valuable secrets that have collectors bidding big money. So, grab your magnifying glass And let's get started. The 1967 Washington quarter was part of the series minted in the final years before the United States changed its coinage to accommodate new designs and compositions in the 1970s. But don't let the typical appearance of the 1967 Washington quarter fool you. It's not just any ordinary coin. Some of those quarters have rare errors and varieties that have made them incredibly sought after by numismatists and collectors. In this video, we're going to explore why the 1967 Washington quarter could be worth far more than its 25-cent face value. $3 million rarest coins. The 1967 Washington quarter was part of the standard coinage issued by the U.S. Mint that year. These quarters were minted at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, with the D and S mint marks indicating where they were struck. A total of over 1 billion 1967 quarters were produced, making them common in circulation. The quarter features the traditional design of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, which had been in use since 1932. So, while most 1967 Washington quarters are not worth much more than their face value of 25 cents, there's a very small number of these quarters that feature rarers, varieties, or unique characteristics, and it's these specific coins that can fetch huge sums at auctions and among collectors. Let's talk about these errors and how you can spot them. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Some 1967 Washington quarters were struck with rare minting errors, which are the main reason these coins can be worth so much money. The two most significant errors to look for are the double die and the clip errors. Let's break down both of these and see how you can identify them. Rarest coins. The double die error. First up, the double die error. A double die occurs when a coin die at a metal stamp used to imprint the design onto the coin A is misaligned during the minting process, causing a doubling effect on certain parts of the coin's design. On a 1967 Washington quarter, this doubling is most often seen on the date and the word Liberty on the obverse. When you look closely at the date 1967, you might notice that some of the numbers appear doubled, creating a ghostly second image next to the original digits. The most noticeable doubling usually occurs on the 9 and the 6 of the year. You can also look for a faint shadow of the second strike in the letters of Liberty, particularly the B and the R. These double die errors are incredibly rare, and coins with visible doubling on both the date and the word Liberty can be worth anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 or more, depending on the grade and condition of the coin. Coins with more prominent doubling A, especially in higher grades A, can fetch even higher prices, with some examples selling for over $10,000. Rarest coins. The clip error. Next, we have the clip error. This happens when a planchet at the metal disc that is struck to create the coin A is improperly fed into the coin press, resulting in a portion of the coin being clipped off during the minting process. The clip can be a small, irregularly shaped section missing from the edge of the coin, often giving it a distinct, uneven appearance. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're a coin collector or just love discovering hidden treasures, you're going to want to stick around for today's video. We're diving deep into a coin that may be sitting in your pocket change right now. The 1995p Washington quarter dollar. Rarest coins. Now, you might be thinking, a quarter, worth the millions? That's crazy. Well, stay tuned, because what you're about to hear could change the way you look at your spare change forever. Voiceover as the coin is shown. The 1995p Washington quarter A. At first glance, it seems just like any other modern U.S. coin, right? But it has a fascinating backstory that could mean it's worth way more than its 25-cent face value. $1 million rarest coin. So, what makes the 1995p quarter so special? Is it just another rare coin, or does it have a truly amazing value? Let's find out. First, let's take a quick look at the quarter itself. The 1995p Washington quarter is part of the standard series that began in 1932, celebrating the first president of the United States, George Washington. The P mint mark indicates it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. But unlike some other coins that have huge historical significance, the 1995p quarter wasn't meant to be anything extraordinary. But as you know, In the world of coin collecting, sometimes the most unexpected things become valuable. And the 1995p Washington quarter has a secret, something that has caused its value to skyrocket. Let's dive into that. Here's where things get interesting. While most 1995p quarters are worth just a quarter, there's a very rare variety of this coin that has been known to sell for millions of dollars. It's called a double die or a DDO error coin. Excitedly, that's right, some of these 1995p quarters have a unique feature where the engraving of the design, particularly the letters and numbers, is doubled. This is due to a mistake during the coin's production at the Philadelphia Mint. Essentially, the coin was struck more than once, which led to a slight misalignment of the design. And when that happens, you get what we call a double die error. Notice how the details, like the date 1995 and the word liberty, appear to be doubled. This is a mistake that's incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. So, just how much is a 1995p Washington quarter with this double die error worth? Well, the answer may surprise you. At its peak, these quarters have sold for hundreds of thousands, and in some cases, millions of dollars. In fact, one of the most famous sales of a 1995p double die error coin was a record-breaking auction where the coin sold for over $1 million. That's right, a single quarter, worth 25 cents, sold for over $1 million. Collectors and investors alike are drawn to these rare error coins because of their scarcity. Only a few of those double die error quarters were produced, and even fewer have survived in good condition. The demand is so high that prices continue to rise. Rarest coins. But hold on, it's not just any 1995p quarter that will make you rich. There are a few things you need to check to see if you have one of these valuable error coins. To spot a 1995p double die Washington quarter, you'll need to carefully examine the details of the coin, especially the date and the word liberty. Look for signs of doubling. You'll see extra lines or shadows in the engraving, which is a sure sign of the error. A magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe is your best friend when it comes to checking these coins. You're looking for any doubling, and it's most noticeable on the upper part of the 5 in 1995 and the LI. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you're a coin enthusiast or just someone who loves finding hidden treasures in your pocket change, today's video is for you. We're about to dive deep into the story of the 1981d Washington quarter dollar, a coin that you may not think much of at first glance, but could actually be worth a lot more than you expect. We're talking about potentially millions of dollars. Stick around, because you might just have a rare coin sitting in your collection without even knowing it. Rarest coins. Voiceover as the coin is shown. So, what's so special about the 1981d Washington quarter, and why is it catching the attention of collectors and investors alike? You might have one in your pocket right now and not even realize it. Let's break it down. First, let's talk about the coin itself. The 1981d Washington quarter is part of the regular series of Washington quarters that have been issued since 1932. The D Mint mark means it was struck at the Denver Mint, and it was part of the normal circulation coins made for that year. So far, it sounds pretty standard, right? But here's where things start to get interesting. Rarest coins. While the 1981d quarter was produced in large numbers, there is a specific variety of this coin that has caused collectors to sit up and take notice. A particular error coin that is extremely rare. But before we dive into that, let's understand a little more about the history of the coin and the era. The 1981 series of coins, including the Washington quarter, came after a period of significant changes at the U.S. Mint. There was an increased focus on efficiency and cost-saving measures, leading to higher mintage numbers for many coins. In fact, the 1981d Washington quarter had one of the highest mintage numbers of any coin that year, with over 682 million of these quarters being produced. However, despite the large production run, most of these coins were standard, everyday circulating quarters with little to distinguish them from the millions of other quarters in circulation. So, What makes some of them so valuable? Rarest coins. Excitedly, now, here's where the mystery and value come into play. Some of the 1981 Washington quarters were struck with what's called a double die error on the obverse. That's the side with George Washington's portrait. This type of error happens when the coin dies are misaligned during the minting process, causing the design to be stamped onto the coin more than once, resulting in a doubled appearance in certain parts of the design. On a normal 1981 quarter, the design elements are crisp and clean. But on the double die variety, you'll notice that key parts of the coin, like the date 1981, the word Liberty, and even the In God We Trust medal, appear to be doubled or blurry. This mistake was caused by a misalignment during the die striking process, creating a unique and very valuable error. Rarest coins. Holding up a magnifying glass. So, how do you identify one of these rare 1981 double die quarters? It's not always easy to spot unless you know exactly what you're looking for. First, take a close look at the date 1981. On a double die coin, the numbers will be slightly offset from the original strike, creating a doubling effect. This is most noticeable on the 1 and the 8 in the date. Next, look closely at the word Liberty and In God We Trust. On a double die error coin, you'll see that these words appear blurry or doubled, with extra outlines around the letters. The doubling is often subtle but visible under magnification. If you spot any of these features, you might have one of these incredibly rare C. Welcome back to the channel. If you're a coin collector or just someone who enjoys the thrill of finding hidden treasures in your spare change, today's video is for you. Rarest coins. Today, we're going to talk about the 1989 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that might be sitting in your collection or even in your pocket right now, worth way more than you think. Some of those quarters have been selling for thousands of dollars, and a few even for millions. If that sounds crazy, stick around. Today we're going to dive deep into the fascinating world of this coin, and you might just have one of these rare gems in your hands. Let's get started. Voiceover. As the coin is shown, at first glance, the 1989 Washington quarter might look like just another run-of-the-mill coin. After all, over 500 million of these were minted. But there's more to the story than meets the eye, especially when you're talking about rare varieties, error coins, and what collectors are willing to pay for them. The 1989 Washington quarter was part of the standard series of quarters minted by the U.S. Mint during that year. The AP mint mark shows it was struck in Philadelphia, and as with many coins, it was produced in large numbers to meet the demands of everyday circulation. But in reality, while this coin may seem common, some of them are far from ordinary. So, why are we talking about this coin today? Well, while most 1989 Washington quarters are worth just 25 cents, there's a specific variety of this coin that has captured the attention of collectors around the world. We're talking about rare error coins and uncirculated specimens that can fetch thousands of dollars, and in some cases, even up to $1 million at auction. But what makes some of these quarters so special? Let's find out. Rarest coins. One of the most sought-after varieties of the 1989 Washington quarter is a rare error known as the double die variety. A double die coin occurs when the coin die at a metal stamp used to strike the design onto the coin A is misaligned during the minting process. This results in a doubled image on some of the design features. In the case of the 1989 Washington quarter, this doubling can appear on key parts of the coin, such as the date and the lettering around George Washington's portrait. On a normal 1989 quarter, the date and lettering will be crisp and clear, but on the double die variety, you'll notice a second, slightly offset impression of the design, which gives the appearance of a doubling. The most common areas to find doubling are the numbers in the date, particularly the 9 and 8, as well as the word Liberty. Look at the 9 and 8 in the date here. See how they appear more than once, creating a blurry, doubled effect? That's the hallmark of a double die coin. But how do you know if you've actually got one of these rare coins? Let's walk through the identification process with the magnifying glass. First, grab your magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and examine the date carefully. You should be looking for a doubled effect, particularly around the A9 and A8 in 1989. This doubling can sometimes be very subtle, so make sure to inspect the coin under good lighting. Rarest coins next. Check the word Liberty on the obverse. The doubling is usually most visible on the last two letters of a Liberty. If you see any part of the letters looking like they've been stamped more than once, you're likely looking at the double die error. The doubling can appear in different parts of the coin, but the date and a Liberty are the most common spots to find it. If you see any signs of a doubled image, then you may have just found a rare treasure. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you love coins, especially those rare and valuable ones that could be hiding in plain sight, then you're in for a real treat today. You might not think much of a 1985D Washington quarter. It seems like just another regular coin, right? But what if I told you that this coin, which was minted over 30 years ago, has a rare variety worth millions of dollars? That's right, we're diving into the exciting world of the 1985D Washington quarter, a coin that could be worth far more than you think. Stick around, because today, we're going to uncover the rare error that has collectors paying big bucks for this coin, and you might just have one sitting in your collection right now. Let's get started. Voiceover as the coin is shown. So, what makes the 1985D Washington quarter so valuable? Well, while most of these coins are worth only their face value of 25 cents, there's a specific variety with the rare minting error that has caused some of these coins to skyrocket in value. Let's dig into what makes these quarters worth millions and how you can identify if you have one. The 1985D Washington quarter was part of the standard series of Washington quarters minted by the U.S. Mint in that year. The D Mint mark indicates that it was struck at the Denver Mint, and in total, over 500 million of those quarters were produced. As you can imagine, the vast majority of these coins are just ordinary, everyday quarters, circulated through the U.S. economy. Rarest coins. But here's where it gets interesting. Some of these 1985D Washington quarters feature a very rare error variety that makes them highly collectible. So, while you might think you've got just another standard coin, if it has the right error, it could be worth thousands of dollars or more. Let's find out how to spot this error and what makes it so valuable. Rarest coins. Excitedly, one of the most exciting and rare varieties of the 1985D Washington quarter is a double die error, specifically, the double die obverse. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the term, a double die error happens when a coin die at the metal stamp used to press the design onto the coin is misaligned during the minting process. This results in a doubling effect on certain areas of the design. Voiceover. On a normal 1985D quarter, you would see crisp, clear details, but on the double die variety, you'll notice that some of the design features, like the date 1985, the word Liberty, and even the motto "In God We Trust," will appear doubled. The doubling is subtle, but under the right lighting and magnification, it's clearly visible. Voiceover. Take a close look at the 1985A. You will see a second, slightly offset image of the numbers, giving the appearance of doubling. This doubling effect can also be visible on the letters in Liberty and even on the "In God We Trust" motto. If you spot these characteristics, then you've likely found a rare 1985D double die error coin. Holding the coin up to the camera. So, how can you identify if you've got one of these rare double die error coins? It's not always easy to spot unless you know what to look for, but here's a step-by-step guide to help you out. Rarest coins. First, examine the date 1985. The key indicator of the double die error is the doubling of the numbers, particularly the 8 and 5. This can appear as a shadow or secondary outline of the digits, making the numbers look a little blurry or doubled. The second area to focus on is the word Liberty. The doubling can often be seen on the letters, especially the B and R. Once you've checked the date and the word Liberty, don't forget to also check the motto "In God We Trust" on the obverse. The doubling can be most noticeable in the TRU portion of trust, so make sure you inspect those details closely. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you've ever wondered whether your spare change could be worth thousands, or even millions of dollars, then today's video is for you. Today, we're going to be talking about the specific quarter of the 1988 Washington quarter dollar. It's a coin that seems pretty ordinary on the surface, right? But what if I told you that some of these coins are worth a lot more than you think? I'm talking about rare minting errors and limited runs that have turned this quarter into a valuable treasure for collectors. Some of these could even fetch millions of dollars at auction. Stick around because we're going to explore everything you need to know about the 1988 Washington quarter dollar and how you can find one that's worth a fortune. Voiceover as the coin is shown. At first glance, the 1988 Washington quarter might seem like just another quarter, produced by the Denver Mint in 1988, but as we'll soon discover, there's a specific variety and a rare minting error that makes this coin much more valuable than its face value of 25 cents. Let's dive into why some of these coins are worth millions and how you can identify them. Rarest coins. Voiceover. The 1988 Washington quarter was minted by the U.S. Mint at the Denver facility, as indicated by the D Mint mark. Over 600 million of these coins were produced that year, making them one of the most common quarters from the late 1980s. The design features the portrait of George Washington on the obverse, with an eagle and shield on the reverse. At face value, this coin is worth just 25 cents. And it's often seen circulating in change. So, why are some of these coins worth millions? Well, it all comes down to a few very specific rare varieties and minting errors that we'll be discussing today. So while the regular 1988 quarter is just a typical coin, a rare error that occurred during its minting makes a select few of those quarters highly sought after by collectors. Let's talk about that error at the double die variety A and how you can spot it in your collection. Excitedly, one of the most valuable and rare errors found in 1988 Washington quarters is the double die variety. But what is a double die? A double die error happens when a coin's die at a stamp used to imprint the coin's design A is misaligned during the minting process. The result is a doubled image of the design on the coin, making some parts of the coin appear as though they've been struck twice. Voiceover. With the 1988 quarter, the most common places to find the doubling are the date and the lettering. For example, the number 8 in 1988 often appears to have a second, slightly offset impression. You might also notice doubling on the word liberty or the motto "In God We Trust." The doubling may be subtle, but it's there, and it can significantly increase the coin's value. $1 million rarest coins. Take a look at the 8 in 1988. You can clearly see a shadow or second strike next to the main digit. The L in Liberty is another giveaway, often showing a double outline. These are the kinds of subtle details you should be looking for when you're inspecting your 1988 Washington quarters. Rarest coins. With enthusiasm. Now that we know what the double die error looks like, let's talk about how to identify it on your own coins. First, grab a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. The doubling effect can be subtle, so you'll need to carefully inspect the coin. Start by examining the date, especially the numbers 1988. Look closely for any extra impressions or ray ghosting of the numbers next to the original ones. The second place to check is the word Liberty. The doubling can appear in the letters, particularly the L, I, and B, where you'll see a shadow or duplicate outline. Next, inspect the motto "In God We Trust." Doubling can be seen on the TRU part of the word trust, or in other parts of the inscription. If you spot